Hey, what's up, guys? This is MugenLord here, and today I just wanted to just take I guess you say a detour as far as the topics that we're going to discuss today here in this video. I want to talk about the Xbox Series X and just Microsoft in general, about their decision of wanting to, I guess you could say, make Game Pass much more of a priority, rather than the traditional sense of where, developers and I guess you say first party companies, focus on the whole physical media and just worry about just pumping out those great games that people have grown to love, no matter what side of the console war that you on, whether it's Nintendo, Sony, Microsoft, it doesn't matter. But I just want to ask you guys this question because I haven't really sat down and talked to you guys. Do you think that Game Pass is I guess you would say, worth it? Do you think it's good for the industry? Do you think it provides value, for the consumer? I definitely want to hear your thoughts, and I want to give you my thoughts on the overall, just I guess you say, the whole thing with Game Pass and the effects that it have on me as a gamer and just on the industry as a whole. So before we dive into this video, hit the subscribe button and notification bell here for more content on this channel. So we're gonna dive into it. Now, I'm gonna tell you right now, I don't have Game Pass. When I first heard about the Game Pass, when Microsoft announced it, during the whole, reveal of the Xbox Series X and S, I said to myself, this sounds like pretty cool, like Netflix, but with video games and everything. And I was pretty much on board with it, at first. And once I finally got my hands on the Xbox Series X on launch day, and I came home, my brothers and them, they jumped in right away. And I just decided to wait for Christmas to open up my Series X, but these guys jumped in right away. And the first thing they gave it a shot was the Game Pass. And I would say this, after watching my brothers utilize the Game Pass, it pretty much made me make my final decision to say, maybe it's not a great idea for me, and I'll explain why. Now, for starters, when it comes to the Game Pass, it does, in a sense, for consumers, it has some sense of value. You're paying them 1 month subscription and you have access to all these games. Now, it doesn't really put emphasis on the quality of the games. You're going to have a wide variety of games from all sorts of quality, so it's pretty much more of a quantity over quality type when it comes to gaming with the Game Pass and everything. But a lot of people get a bang for their buck, and on top of that, Microsoft also made day one releases, especially for their studios, to release it day and date for not only the console but also for Game Pass as well. So you're paying a cheap monthly subscription and you're getting AAA titles day one of the release of those particular games coming from studios. Now, my brothers and them were super hyped. Keo and DX Strike, oh my god, they downstairs said, oh my god, I can just download this, I can play this, I can play that. Now, the thing is, my brothers, they're gamers. We enjoy physical media. But the fact is that now they have a home console to where they can actually pay a subscription fee and be able to try out games that they normally wouldn't try out. And I think that's where the value is at, when it comes to the Game Pass. Games that you normally wouldn't play, that you wouldn't give a time of day, because, come on, let's be honest here. For most gamers, $60 and $70 for a game nowadays, that's asking for a lot, especially with today's economy. And you got so many options of games that you are willing to spend that money on and put that time and investment in. So you really have to pick wisely. And I can say that I'm fortunate enough to be able to pick up any game that I want. Thanks from the support from you guys, when it comes to what I'm doing as a content creator and all sorts of other things that I've been working on throughout my my life. So I'm able to just pick up the games that I want, and of course some developers will also give me like free copies of games, so that's not even the issue. But for most people, some people can't afford to pay $70 for each and every last game that releases, so they have to pick only but so many games they can pick out of the year. So Game Pass essentially like fulfilled that of that problem that some people have as a gamer, because this hobby is getting more and more expensive as these consoles get more and more advanced, and development costs for these studios start to increase, and the manpower start to increase. So it gets really hectic, and it gets like really tight. So when it comes to the Game Pass, I watch my brothers, they're enjoying the hell out of it. I mean, these guys, every time I turn around, they're playing a different game, and this is where the issue had came in. As they're playing Game Pass, I will come downstairs, they will have one game on, then I'll run upstairs and, you know, continue doing my work and what I'm doing, and then I come back downstairs, they no longer on that game anymore. They on the next game. They're trying another game, and before you know it, my brother and them, they're not completing games. Because 1 minute they're playing one game, and then they get excited and see another game on the Game Pass, and then jump into that game and start playing that, and then they just keep moving from game to game. So no games are getting completed. So now you got a bunch of games that you installed on your hard drive that's taking up space, and there's not even a chance, or there's a low probability that you'll even return to that game, because now you got announcements and you got releases for other new titles, especially when those AAA titles release on the Game Pass, day and date as well. So that's where you come into this conundrum, because I also had this experience with Steam. Man, Steam is a great site, is a great app, is a great market for gaming, for buying games digitally. I love Steam. And the thing that kills me the most is the Steam sales, because I'm just buying games because of the sale. Like, you know what, I need to buy this game, and I notice my Steam library continues to increase, and as my Steam library continues to increase, I'm not finishing any of the games. Some games I haven't even installed. I bought the game and never installed it. They're just sitting in my library. So when I looked at that and I compared that to the Steam library and Xbox Game Pass, it's like, why would I get a Game Pass? Why would I get it? Because I would get this Game Pass and never even utilize it. I would just have games just sitting on my hard drive and either never played or halfway finished and just not complete at all. So now when it comes to that value, now I'm just wasting money. I'd rather just go out and buy the game, physically have it, and if there's a game that I don't want, I just skip that game and just get the games that I want. So when it comes to the Game Pass, it has its ups and downs. And so what does this mean for the industry as a whole? Now, there's an argument saying that, it's hurting, developers with physical sales of titles and everything like that. It makes Microsoft complacent and everything when it comes to, siphoning their money to the many different studios, that they don't have to put much effort in their games. The quality goes down is because that Game Pass guarantees a slot for them, because Microsoft is the one kicking out money, to these studios that have the game on Game Pass. So those studios are essentially covered. Now, the good side, I can say, for developers that help developers is that, especially for indie studios, some people won't kick that money out for an indie game. But with Game Pass, many people will give that game a try and then play it. And if they end up becoming fans of it, they eventually either invest in the DLC or the microtransactions and stuff. So it does help those smaller studios. And there's one particular studio that it really helped out, was the company that behind the Square Enix published game Outriders. Outriders did really good when it launched on the Game Pass, because essentially Outriders doesn't really to me, in my personal opinion, doesn't really like an interesting game to me. It just look like another Gears of War clone mixed with Destiny and all these other type of titles that's in there. But what essentially had done for that studio was it got a lot of people to actually try out the game, where he's able to make money off of the the DLC and whatever type of packs that they had for the game. So more people was willing to give the game a try because it was on Game Pass, and that's what it essentially has done. Because to be honest with you, it doesn't seem like a game that Outriders is a game that people would shell out $60 to $70 for. It doesn't seem like that. It seemed like this game wouldn't have made as much, but with Game Pass, it did help those studios out. So I can see it working. Now, also, too, look at Tango Games with Hi-Fi Rush. It had its ups and downs. I mean, they shadow dropped it, and it was the most downloaded game at that time. But the downside about it is it from what we've seen with articles or what's been told, that the game didn't perform as well as what the hype had generated. Not because the game is bad, it's because the fact is that it's on Game Pass. There's no physical copy that you can get of the game, and that's another thing. I want to play Hi-Fi Rush. I'm just trying to hold out for just a little bit longer to see if they eventually announce a physical version for the game. Because I would love to have the game physical. I would definitely love to have that game. It belongs in my Xbox library. But I don't want to have it digital. I don't want to play it digital. But if it doesn't come out physical, then I won't have no choice but to try it digital, and I'll play it. I really think that's a high quality game and deserves the praise that it received. But it also turned out to not be as, I guess, financially successful, because of it being on the Game Pass, in the sense is that you get all these downloads, but what does it translate to? What does it convert to at the end of the day? So we kind of like in a hard spot with this. And the fact is that we have this whole thing where Microsoft is trying to increase, and they've been spending a lot of their time trying to make the Game Pass as strong and as profitable as possible. But we do starting to see the nicks and the cracks in it, because they did announce recently that they're upping the Game Pass for the consoles except the PC. So we know that, in the end, Microsoft had the money to spend to get these studios to put money on the Game Pass. But how profitable are they actually, to the point where now they have to actually increase the price of the Game Pass? So is it really working out for them as they claim that it's doing for them? And besides that, we already seen what happened with the whole Redfall incident, and Phil Spencer was on his apology tour where he talked about that, hey, we really, our emphasis is on the Game Pass, and this is where they want to put their strength into. And I have no problem with that a competitor, in order for them to outmaneuver their competition, they have to provide something that the competitor is not providing, and that is the cloud service with the cloud gaming, and also with the Game Pass with this whole digital. And this was a direction that Microsoft wanted to go since the Xbox One, with the whole DRM thing that they had added to the console. And that was the thing that really set them behind once. And I believe to this day that Sony was planning to do the same thing, but seeing the backlash that Microsoft has done, and decided to shift gears, which was smart as a competitor, and they took advantage of that. And since then, Microsoft haven't caught up to Sony since then. So now they want to put all their eggs in one basket, or they want to put all their emphasis on the Game Pass and really push that in order to make the Game Pass competitive, competent. Now Microsoft, what they're doing is they want to increase the selection of games that they have for this service. And how do they do that? They want to do all these crazy acquisitions. Now the thing is, I'm not totally against acquisitions. It just depends on how it's done, how they're going about it, and everything of that sort. Now when it comes to the whole Activision Blizzard deal that they're trying to do, they know that this is going to be a strong component or proponent to the Game Pass. Now that if they have Activision Blizzard underneath there, they have a whole slew and a whole category of games on the digital market, and this is what they're trying to capture, because Microsoft is looking at the long game rather than the short game. Right now, Sony is busting ass, and me, like, I have no dog in this console war fight. I own all the consoles, and to say that Sony's not busting ass right now is just a fanboy at this point. That if a Xbox fanboy or Nintendo fanboy or whatever, if you can not believe that Sony is not dominating right now, they are, truthfully. And Nintendo is on a whole nother spectrum. They're in a league of their own. But when it comes to Sony and Microsoft, Sony's busting Microsoft's ass. We have to be honest about that. And Microsoft is trying to compete, and the way they compete is trying to go in this whole digital gaming route with the Game Pass. And by doing that, they want to acquire some studios. Just recently, we found out through the court filings that they were trying to, at one point, try to buy Square Enix. They tried to buy Sega. They were just going down the list to see what they can grab. Now, they also tried to get Nintendo at one point. Nintendo wasn't going for that. But they believe that having a strong library of Xbox titles or titles for the Xbox Game Pass is going to be the only way that they can secure a future that we're going into, which is the whole digital gaming landscape, because everybody is going into digital media. Physical media is dying out, and Microsoft already seen the writing on the wall since the Xbox One, and now these guys are really trying to step their game up and try to get ahead of the competition. And Sony knows that. Sony knows that they can't compete when it comes to that. So they had to hurry up and come up with their, what is it, PlayStation Network Gold or something like that, to try to compete with that, because people, they know how viable that option is. Now Sony fanboys won't admit that it's viable, but it's viable enough to where Sony has to replicate that in some way. So this is where we're going, and Microsoft are trying to do that. So where do we go from here? How will this be handled as far as the Game Pass is concerned? You know, how are you guys are handling it? Do you have the Game Pass? Do you think it has value to you as a gamer? I definitely want to know in the comment sections below, because this is a very pivotal moment in gaming right now when it comes to Game Pass. A lot of people is counting Microsoft out, but we still have yet to see what's still up their sleeve as far as, you know, first party exclusives are concerned, and what other titles that they're going to try to squeeze in the Xbox Game Pass, as far as it being either a Xbox Game Pass exclusive or not. But we still have to keep our eyes open on this, because I think Microsoft is a sleeping demon when it comes to the Xbox right now. Like I said, I still, like I said, as a fan and as a gamer, we want everybody to do well. I want Sony to do well. I want Nintendo to do well, and I damn sure want Microsoft to do well, because that makes everything competitive. Now, I don't want Microsoft buying everything up, because like right now, Sony to me is stagnant when it comes to their games and everything, because they're the top dogs or whatever like that. Yeah, they have some titles that everybody seems to like, but most of the titles don't really appeal to me as much, and everything's starting to feel homogenous. Everything's starting to all feel the same, because it's a big player that's dominating everything. So when it comes to the digital media landscape, I don't want Microsoft to be acquiring all these studios. Then, you know, we're going to have a stagnant, you know, gaming industry or a gaming market when you have one big player that's just dictating everything. But we need all three to be able to compete well. It encourages these companies to increase their productivity, gives the high quality product, and us as gamers, we win in the long run. So I definitely want to hear your thoughts in the comment section below. What do you think about the Game Pass? Is this something that you enjoy? Does it provide value to you as a gamer? And does it provide value to the gaming industry as a whole? Because I really think this is an important discussion to have, because this is going to affect the future of gaming moving forward. Some people may not think that's the case, but no, like, we definitely need to look at that, because gaming is starting to be all digital. Soon you won't be able to own it physically. Soon you ain't gonna have no rights to own any of these games. It's all going to go in the hands of the publisher and everything. Despite you know, having it digital, they still own everything about the game. So if you like the video, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and notification bell for more gaming content here on this channel. This is MugenLord signing off. I'll see you game fiends later. Peace out.